Hello and welcome to WHU Radio, a West Ham fan podcast run by me, your host John Phillips, also known as JP. On today's podcast is the full-time thoughts review of West Ham 3, Portsmouth 1 in the first round of the Carabao Cup. If you want to listen to a full unedited version of this podcast, then please do consider becoming a Patreon. Links in the description below. Otherwise, let's get to it. Right, so let's talk about that first half. As we always do, let's start off by talking about the team sheet. Now, as I said in the preview that for this game, that Pompey will start off with a 4-2-3-1, and that's exactly what they did. But I was surprised, but it was a welcome surprise for what Nuno did for West Ham, which has put us to a flat 4-4-2, which is fantastic. So the team sheet for West Ham starts as Hermansen in goal, with Walker-Peters as right back, Scarles as left back, Mavropanos and Kilman in the defensive centre-back positions, Bowen out on the right, Kante out on the left, Orford and Alvarez in the middle, with Pablo and Castellanos as the top two. Now, I'm very happy with that, genuinely, because I got most of that wrong. I mean, obviously, for those Patrons listening, I did put Hermansen in goal. I did put Walker-Peters at right back. I put Mavropanos in the centre-back pairing. I put him in a slightly different position. I put, what was he called? Bowen. I called Castellanos, but that's about it, But that's what it is, That's why he's paid thousands and thousands of pounds a week, and I'm sitting there talking to my phone. But yeah, as I say, the start of the game, very, very nervy. Very, very nervy indeed. Reason being was because the opening couple of minutes, Orford all over the place in a very good way. The work rate that we expect from an academy graduate, put the ball out, clear the danger, and that caused Pompey's first corner. But obviously that never came to fruition. And then there's a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of craziness. Because it's the start of the season and it's a hot summer's day over at the London Stadium and it looks beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful day today. Halfway through the first half of the fluid break, which to be fair, we've had that for a few seasons now. It's got nothing to do with the World Cup. But, as I say, there wasn't that much from either side in time. Because obviously, a couple of minutes into, 4 or 5 minutes, I think, into the game, Bowen had a really good chance. It didn't come to anything, unfortunately. But there were chances. What annoys me from the first half of that game is that Tati was offside twice. We had 4 offsides in total for that first half. Pompey had the majority of the possession. Pompey and I said in the video, they're playing exactly as I thought they would. They're very organised, slow, methodical build-up to get into the final. Sorry, the fast-paced but slow, methodical build-up to get into the opposition's third. And yeah, and that's exactly what they were doing. They had their chances. Hermansen had a bit of a grievance with one of the players trying to delay the goal kick at one point. But at the same point, guys, it looks like everyone, I know what everybody was thinking when we went 1-0 down on the 32 and a half minutes on the clock, 33 minutes on the board, right? I said in the Patreon extended version of the preview, genuinely the first player I said we need to silence is Segic. Right, he is their main goal scoring threat. He scored 11 goals for them last season, and he is their top goal scorer. I said he has a sharp movement, a clinical finisher from distance, and makes late runs into the box. And to be fair, from a Pompey point of view, that goal was phenomenal, beautiful. Kilman does everything correct. He clears the line perfectly. Unfortunately, gives it straight to him. So I'm sure a lot of people out there who don't understand how football works, it's just one of those things when you clear your line. But what annoys me about how we conceded that goal is down to the fact that not only did it go past Kilman, it looked like it took a slight deflection off Kilman, again, which is not his fault. It's either Kilman or Mavropanos. It's difficult to tell which. but it goes past both of those players, and one of them gets a slight deflection. It's in the back of the net. One thing I've mentioned for season after season after season is defenders turning their back on the ball. That's your fucking job. Do it. Do not turn your back on the ball. Put your body put your body on the line, in the line where the ball is going. That's exactly what you are paid for. However, not that long afterwards, one of the best build-ups to goals I have ever seen in my life. Absolutely genuine class from Orford to Skulls to Kante to Tati. Literally 10 minutes after we conceded that goal, and it's 1-1. Beautiful coordination. To watch Kante celebrate the way that he did when that goal hit the back of the net just made everything completely, for me, just melt away, for lack of a way of putting it. Melt away. There are issues, still major issues from that first half, but we will talk about that after full time when we're talking about the second half. And then again, build up was phenomenal from Orford to Skulls to Pablo to Bowen, and it's 2-1 in the space of 90 seconds, basically. I know it says 2 minutes on the clock, but it's about 90 odd seconds. We'll obviously find out exactly when, because I'm recording this literally at half time. So I don't know how my voice is going to sound at the end of the game, but so far there are a hell of a lot of positives for both managers to take with this game. Both managers. Pompey played exactly as in the way that they had. I can't understand how I called the fact that we need to keep Sergic quiet. I said that straight away in the preview, and it's the first guy that scores. I don't understand how these guys don't know that he's a threat, and we need to do everything to make sure he doesn't score. I know, I know it's happened, and it's all fine, but yeah, that's basically my thoughts for the first half. So we started the second half off in pretty much the same way we ended the first, which is a rarity for West Ham, especially when we're in a comfortable position. Normally when we start off the second half, it's normally a little bit, still a little bit indecisive, a little bit nervous, but far from it. You know, literally a couple of minutes in, there was a good chance that Bowen and Tati had to get us up to be 3-1, but it didn't happen. But then it did. A few minutes later, literally a few minutes later, really nice ball to, I think it was from Walker Peters, not 100% sure, but a nice ball crossing into, up to Bowen, running down the right-hand side, ball in, and bam, connects onto Tati's header, and he gets his brace. Now, from a footballing perspective, just for a second, all 3 goals that West Ham scored were from Pompey errors in defending. Really were badly defending. Both centre-backs gave Tati and Bowen so much space to score those goals. We aren't going to see that in every single game when it comes to the Championship. You know, obviously there are going to be times where we are going to be turning teams over, like for example the relegated teams that are odds on for relegation, like Lincoln, for example. You know, we are going to get those sort of opportunities, but they are not going to be coming every single week. What I will say, however, is I'm very, very impressed with how that game went. It could have been a lot worse. What I will say, just as a football fan for a second, taking off my West Ham hat for a minute, what I want to say is I am so heartbroken for the Pompey player Waddingham. He came on the 52nd minute as a substitute to replace Brooke Smith, and came off 8 seconds. It felt like it came off 8 minutes later as a result of it, because he looked like he picked up a twig or something. And Kenny came on the 60th minute to replace him. And Kenny, this is the other reason why I'm talking about this substitution. Kenny looks very good for Pompey. When we play them in the league, I think he's really going to cause us some pain. I really think he will. Now, apologies for the first half section. I did actually, excuse me, I did actually pronounce the name correctly. It is Sezic. Now, don't West Ham fans out there, don't take anything into him doing the crossed arms when he when he took that corner. No, because yes, okay, it's the West Ham celebration, crossed hammers and all the rest of it, but it also does mean that it's a sign for hard work at the same point. Now, unless we hear anything over the next couple of days that Sergacic is in conversation with West Ham to join us, I'll take him 100%. He's a great attacking midfielder. And as I said in the Patreon preview, and I mentioned it in the first half, he was Portsmouth's highest goal scorer last season. I think he could tear it up with West Ham. I generally do. But as I say, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, that I think, more than anything else. He might have been doing it just to wind up the home fans. Who knows? We'll never know. But it was funny to watch. It did make me laugh. Now, just putting the my West Ham hat back on for a moment, let's talk about the substitutions. I feel sorry for Kante. It looks like he came off only with cramp more than anything else. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be looking at him starting, or at least being on the bench, because I think he from the Burnley game on next weekend, because I think he had a great game. I honestly think he had a great game. Now, Ward-Prowse came on for the 75th minute just to replace him, as did Diouf to replace Alvarez. I think Alvarez had a good game. I really think he played very well. Got picked up his stereotypical, customised, cliched, whatever you want to call it, booking. But we need a defensive midfielder in there that's going to be happy to put his body on the line to shut down some opposition opportunities. We need that, massively need that. So yeah, but as I say, great to see Ward-Prowse back on the pitch. And also, for that matter, one of the things that I'm very impressed about with these officials, and I'm going to do a video about it over the next day or so over on the YouTube channel, is down to the fact that the new rules are being adhered to when it comes to substitutions. Tassi didn't, because you'll notice that Diouf ran over to him when Tati was substituted over for Tati. So it was Veltman was going to come on for Tati. You'll notice that because he was taking too long, Diouf ran over to him, so like, get off the pitch, you're taking too long, or something along those lines. So as a result of it, Veltman had to come on a minute or so later. That's part of the new rules of substitution, because there's also time wasting, another time wasting rule that is coming in, that not only the Championship are doing, but the Premier League, or pretty much everybody in the Football League, are doing in relation to goalkeeper tactical injury delays as well. So I'll talk about that in an upcoming video before the season starts. But it's very, very good to see those guys enforcing it, because it just shows that we're going to be having a more fluid games of football coming up, because there's less and less tolerance for time wasting now, and I absolutely love that. We've been crying out for it for years. Technically, this rule has been coming for years, because most seasons, as it always is, the officials will start implementing these rules like it was. You can't have any players hounding the referee. That rule came in about 6-7 years ago, however long ago that was. Not used anymore. Still a valid rule, but it's just not used anymore. So hopefully we'll be able to see that at the end of by the end of the season. But as I say, looking at this game as a one-off, we are not going to be turning over teams like we've turned over Portsmouth today. Once that third goal went in, then it became more like the Boyle Sports Cup. Wasn't really that competitive from that point of view. Well, why not? I mean, at the end of the day, we were cruising. Portsmouth didn't have any other real genuine goal threats in that game. And obviously, as I've mentioned before, Pompey have had a really bad, over in the Patreon preview extended version of the preview, that Portsmouth have had a very bad run of injuries last season, and they've still got some injuries out, including a few that was on the that were in for. Sorry, I couldn't find my bearings there for a second. Weren't including players that were picking up little knocks here and there in pre-season. So, as I say, we are. There's from a Portsmouth point of view, just very, very quickly, all three goals could have been defended better. Not saying they shouldn't have been defended at all. I mean, obviously I am, because I'm a West Ham fan. And I'm glad we did, but even though it was frustrating the way that we conceded that first goal, literally the first goal of the game, as I mentioned in the analysis of the first half, that Portsmouth's backline needs to get their game sorted very, very quickly, because all 3 goals were basically conceded with acres of space between the 2 defenders in front of the goalkeeper. It's unacceptable at a professional level, and the reason why I'm saying that is because we've talked about that about Premier League games, and I'm sure that we'll be saying that as well, for that matter, coming into the coming into the end of this coming season as well, for that matter, where we've conceded goals in exactly the same vein. So yeah, basically, as I say, one thing I'm very, very happy to see is my boy Joshua Jailer coming on for Bowen right towards the end of the 8 minutes of added time at the second half. So yeah, overall, very, very impressed, but don't get too carried away with one game. It's not even a league game yet. One game does not make a season, and we haven't even had the game season yet. So yeah, so in that case, guys, where do we go from here? Well, that question is going to be answered over on Patreon. So guys, please do, if you want to become a Patreon, links in the description below. You get to see all unedited previews and other videos there as well. There's exclusive analysis of players that we're linked to signings. There will be another couple of ones coming in a day or so keep an eye out for that. And also you get to hear the extended version of this podcast. So guys, please do consider becoming a Patreon. Very, very cheap. You get a lot of benefits very, very cheaply. So guys, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll speak to you very soon. All the best now.